I used to believe that goals were the ultimate path to a happy and successful life, which is not exactly surprising. We are surrounded by this message everywhere we look. But what if chasing goals is actually limiting you? I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder, thinking that each next achievement would finally bring lasting fulfillment. But it didn't. Today, I want to share what I learned, how I shifted from chasing ambitions to living through aspirations, and why that one change has brought so much peace in my life. If you ever felt like no achievement is ever enough, or like success sometimes feels empty, this video is for you. Hey, my name is Greg from Renew. I'm a master coach helping people, teams, and organizations know, design, and become themselves. Renew and I are here to help you live a life where you have control. As a teenager and young adult, I was terrible at achieving goals. I was literally running away from them. Not because I wasn't capable, but because I was afraid of failure. I was told and I thought myself as being smart. Therefore, in my mind, I was not supposed to make any effort at all. Then one day, everything changed. I moved to Toronto for my first real work opportunity. And this was the start of my world entirely transforming. I learned to speak English fluently. I had my first love, my first professional successes. I saw for the first time that taking a risk and working hard could bring amazing rewards. That's when I got hooked, chasing the next goal, the next promotion, the next big moment. And for 20 years, climbing the corporate ladder, each milestone pushing me toward the next. But eventually something changed. Two things, actually. First, the pleasure of reaching the next goal started to fade. What once felt like a huge win now felt like just another box to check. Second, I realized that my work, what I spent most of my waking hours doing, didn't truly connect to my values or a deeper personal purpose. It's only when I started meeting new people, coaches, thought leaders, people living differently, that I began to question all of it. But that's when I discovered something that changed a lot my perspective on life. The difference between ambition and aspiration, between chasing goals and living a life aligned with something bigger than any single achievement. What do you feel when a Netflix series you've been obsessed with eventually ends? You feel empty. Now what? You start looking for the next show to binge on, or in this case, the next goal. This is a goal achievement trap, a cycle that keeps us feeling like we are always chasing something, but never truly arriving. And here is why it's a problem. There is a biological reason why chasing goals can feel addictive. Every time we set a goal and achieve it, our brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical, one of the feel-good chemicals. It's the same chemical involved in gambling, social media likes, even substance addiction. The high never lasts. The moment we check off one goal, we need to set another. Otherwise, we risk feeling lost, unmotivated, and even depressed. That's when the burnout cycle begins. Another problem? Goals often come with a binary mindset, success or failure, win or lose, pass or fail. But life isn't black and white. What if the goalposts are always moving? What if success is actually a spectrum, not a checkbox? The problem with this mindset is that even success can feel like failure if it's not good enough. And that can make us miserable. One of the biggest dangers of goal obsession is that we start defining ourselves by what we achieve. But what happens when the achievements stop? If your identity is built on what you accomplish, who are you when you're not accomplishing? This realization hit me pretty hard after years of chasing the next promotion, the next step on the ladder. I wasn't just addicted to achievement. I was defining myself by my positions. When I left my corporate job was a moment I had to truly find who I was and revealing my intrinsic value. So how do we pursue growth without getting trapped in achievement addiction? The answer is aspirations. What's the difference between ambition, goals, and aspirations? A goal is a specific measurable result. It's an endpoint. I want to lose 10 kilo. I want to get promoted. I want to run a marathon. Once you reach it, the goal is over. It's binary. You either achieve it or you don't. An aspiration, on the other hand, is a guiding principle, a long-term vision that doesn't have an expiration date. Instead of, I want to be CEO, it could be, I want to lead and inspire people through meaningful work. See the difference? Goals end. Aspirations appear and evolve. When you live through aspirations, you never fail. because there's no final moment where you succeed or don't succeed. You just keep growing. Aspirations also allow for growth in multiple directions. A goal is like a straight path. You either follow it or you don't. But an aspiration, it's more like a tree, constantly expanding, adapting, reaching new heights. Let's say your aspiration is to make a meaningful impact through your work. That aspiration can take you in so many directions: mentoring, creating, leading, teaching. You're not tied to one specific achievement. Instead, you're open to the multiple ways the branches might grow. Aspirations shift the focus from what do I want to accomplish to who do I want to become. Much more about how I set my aspirations for 2025 in this video right here. Here is a question. If you took away all your achievements, who would you be? It's easy to attach our identity to our successes. I'm a manager. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a top performer. But when we live through aspirations, we define ourselves by our values and our journey, not just our results. Instead of I am my achievements, an aspiration helps you say, I am someone who is always growing, learning, and evolving. That's something no success or failure can ever take away. You like this video so far? Then you know what to do. Also subscribe and put on the notifications if you want to receive content like this every week. And check out other videos from famous YouTube channels in the video description. It is always good to look at the topic through multiple lenses. Let's talk about something we don't usually connect to success: mental health. Goal chasing doesn't just shape what we achieve. It shapes how we feel, how we see ourselves, and even our sense of self-worth. And if we're not careful, it can trap us in a cycle of stress, anxiety, and burnout. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you achieve, there is always more to do? Like the moment you complete one big goal, another one just replaces it. That's because goal chasing creates a psychological treadmill. You're running, but the finish line keeps moving. And when our self-worth is tied to reaching those goals, we start to live in constant pressure mode. Stress becomes our default state. And over time, that leads to burnout. This is why so many high achievers, CEOs, athletes, top performers end up feeling empty, anxious, or even depressed. Not because they're unsuccessful, but because success, as they define it, keeps them trapped in a cycle of never being enough. Unlike reaching goals, aspirations allow us to grow at our own pace, without the constant fear of failure. If your goal is to win a classical singing competition, every practice session comes with pressure. But if your aspiration is to express myself through singing for life, every practice session becomes enjoyable. There's no stress of winning or losing, just progress. Aspirations bring us peace because they shift the focus from am I there yet to am I growing? Which one sounds like a life worth living? What if success wasn't about performance at all? What if it was about purpose? This shift from performance to purpose was one of the biggest realizations in my life. Performance is what we do to prove ourselves. It's about hitting targets, impressing others, and meeting external expectations. And to be honest, it works. Perform well and you'll get the promotion, the applause, the money. But here is the problem. Performance is conditional. If you stop performing at a high level, the rewards slow down. And suddenly your worth feels like it's slipping. If your entire identity is based on how well you perform, what happens when you can't perform anymore? We see this all the time. People who reach massive success but feel more pressure than ever to maintain it. Because the second they stop winning, they feel like they're losing. And as we said, it's because performance is externally driven. But purpose? Purpose is internally driven. And that makes all the difference. Unlike performance, purpose isn't about proving anything. It's about living in alignment with what truly matters to you. Purpose isn't something you achieve, it's something you live. It's a guiding force behind your actions, not just the end result. When you shift from performance mode to purpose mode, you stop asking, what will people think? And start asking, how can I serve? How can I grow? How can I contribute? And that's the magic of purpose. When you live in alignment with it, the external reward often follow anyway. But even if they don't, you feel fulfilled. Here is something interesting. Research shows that people who are purpose-driven are actually more successful in the long run. Not because they're chasing rewards, but because they're so deeply connected to what they do that they don't burn out as easily and they shine. Think about the greatest leaders, creators, and innovators. The ones who change the world. They weren't just focused on winning, they were focused on creating something meaningful. Purpose-driven people wake up excited about their work, not just because they have a deadline, but because their work means something to them. So here's a question for you. If no one was watching, if there were no external rewards, what work would still excite you? If you want to write your own life purpose statements, then you can follow this guide right here. How do we actually make the shift from goals to aspirations? Because most of us have spent years chasing goals. It's just an automatic process. This isn't an overnight change. We don't have to abandon goals altogether. You just have to start thinking about them differently. First, take one of your biggest goals. Maybe it's a career goal, a financial goal, a health goal, whatever comes to mind. Now, instead of focusing on the result, ask yourself, what's a deeper aspiration behind this goal? Let's give an example about myself. When I was in my 20s, I wanted to become a company president. But what was the deep down aspiration? The aspiration was and is, I want to grow as a leader and create meaningful impact in my work and for other people. You see the shift? The goal is a milestone. The aspiration is a lifelong journey. Now take a moment to try this for yourself. Rewrite one of your goals into an aspiration. And if you feel like sharing, drop it in the comments. I love to see what you come up with. One of the biggest mistakes we make, we get so obsessed with the outcomes that we ignore the systems and habits that actually create long-term growth. Life is made of sometimes doing something new and most of the time repeating the same routine. Because habits are what build skills, which lead you to living your aspirations every day and also achieving your goals. So instead of focusing on achieving the goal, focus on building the habit. One of my life aspirations is to stay healthy for as long as I can. For that, I work on my diet, doing CrossFit a few times a week, having the right level of vitamins and minerals in my body. And all of this is integrated into routines. This makes success inevitable because even if you don't hit a specific goal, you're still becoming the kind of person who lives your aspiration. If you want to learn about the one habit that rules all your other habits, then check this video here. The reason we get stuck in the goal achievement trap is because we only celebrate end results. But what if we started to celebrate growth itself? Try this. Instead of waiting for a big win to feel successful, start tracking your small wins, the moments of growth, and even your failures. When I stopped measuring my life by achievements and started measuring it by growth, I felt a lot more fulfilled every single day. One of the best ways to stay connected to your aspirations, a weekly check-in. Every Sunday, ask yourself, what step have I taken this week to grow in the direction of my aspirations? What did I learn this week through success or failure? How did I grow toward my aspiration? What's one small step I can take for next week? This keeps you grounded in the bigger picture. Because remember, aspirations don't have a deadline. They're a way of being, not just doing. There's nothing wrong with having goals and ambitions, as long as you tether them to life aspirations, which are also tethered to bigger purpose for your life. As you start thinking about your own life aspirations, I'll leave you with this quote from Marcus Aurelius. The purpose of life is not to be in the majority, but to escape the insanity of the majority. If you're getting stuck with a definition of success that does not give you happiness and peace, I invite you to paint a different definition, which you can find a guide to in this video right here.